We got some international news flare-ups that could spiral into something bigger in the CYPRUS conflict, particularly Turkey and Greece on the edge of war. Yet another flashpoint that could begin World War III. We got food shortage updates coming from our community. We have chicken prices up. We got hardware and plumbing parts in issue. We have masks suddenly coming back in some places. And we have an important lesson one family learned the hard way just this past week on a week-long power outage in Nebraska. You'll want to hear that, learn from their mistakes, and not replicate them. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and this is a community-wide effort where we share information with each other to keep everyone on the cutting edge of what's going on out there. The mainstream media is not reporting a lot of the stuff, but we need this information. Before we dive in, we want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. They help people who have retirement accounts get into gold, silver, and platinum. If you want to move your retirement funds over, or you have questions about that, you might want to talk to Jonathan and his team. There's no obligations. There'll be a link at the end of the video. You can also find them down in the description. Let's start off in CYPRUS, shall we? We got major issues happening over there. The big issue is that so CYPRUS is cut in half. Okay, you got Greece has half of it, and then you got Turkey has half of it. And Greece and Turkey are shooting at each other, basically. They just killed a Greek soldier just this past week in a shooting incident by the Turkish military. They're fighting over a number of different islands, and one of the islands they're fighting over is CYPRUS, which is not a small island. It's a really big island, actually. And so they have a DMZ across the thing, but they both want to take it over. Well, Greece has decided that they want to build a naval base on CYPRUS, which is kind of an escalation. So Turkey is like, well, then we'll build a naval base there too, which is causing all sorts of problems. So they are right on the edge. Like I said, they've started shooting at each other again. Both are members of NATO, which causes problems. Now, Turkey is kind of one of those swing states when it comes to World War III. They're not sure if they want to play for the Nazis or if they want to play for, the Russians. And so that's kind of where they are. They're kind of like not sure if they want to be on the NATO team or if they want to be on the Brics team. Well, they're trying to join Brics, and they like interacting with Russia. They bought the air defense system from Russia, and then they were trying to buy the F-35 from the United States. And the United States is like, no, you have to choose. You can't have both. And Turkey was like, why not? Why can't we have both? Why can't we have the best of both sides, right? So that when we decide to fight against one of you, we can choose either side. NATO, United States, not happy about Turkey misbehaving, but Russia is trying to seduce Turkey into joining them. And Turkey's a big deal. Turkey is the biggest military in the Middle East. They have a bigger military than Egypt. They have a bigger military than, way bigger than Iraq. It's a big deal. Turkey has a modern and, because they're trained by the United States, they cross-train with NATO. They have NATO-type equipment, and then on top of that, they just have a really big frickin' army. So this is a big deal. Them going to war with Greece is a big deal too. Which one of them do we fight alongside in this conflict? Which side does NATO come in when they're both NATO? See the problem? So this could spiral into World War III. Turkey could suddenly declare its allegiance to the China-Russia Confederation. We'll keep an eye on that. Russia is out there cutting its crude oil exports, not probably willingly, but they're having some issues. They're having Ukrainian drone strikes hitting a lot of their oil facilities, but then also U.S. sanctions are really biting down. We're going after the banks that are buying this oil from Russia. So Russia crude oil exports to China and India down by 17% in just the last couple months. We're talking about 600,000 barrels of oil per day. We're not talking about a small drop in the bucket. Russia is the largest exporter of oil in the world. They produce more oil than anybody else in the world. It's a big deal. And of course, the United States has been trying to clamp down on them sanctions-wise, and it looks like the United States is starting to pull that off. And that is definitely going to make Russia more and more desperate and more wanting to align with other countries against the U.S. and get Brics involved. This is from Short Person. That's literally their name. That's their profile name. Southeast Arizona update at our local grocery store, Basha's. The bread aisle extended. It's extended, so there was very little honey, jams, jellies, and peanut butter on the shelves. Lots of sweet bread and donuts, but not much to put on the breads. Thomas says chicken breast went from $1.49 to $1.99 a pound. That's kind of bad. That was weeks ago. Over the weekend, went to $2.99 a pound. This is in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. We are seeing chicken prices going up significantly. We had another 3 million birds put down in Colorado. They're in a state of emergency over there, and they're starting to use their fiat government powers in the lead up to November. I mean, to contain the bird flu. Yeah, that's the narrative we're supposed to stick with, right? Anyway, Jan in Allentown says Pennsylvania will begin charging owners of EVs, electric vehicles, and hybrid plug-in vehicles an extra $200 a year when they register their vehicles. This helps to balance the burden of highway maintenance more fairly. Currently, the gasoline tax is the primary source for road maintenance funds, and of course, EVs have not been paying their fair share. Yeah, you thought you were going to get away getting around taxes? Yeah, that's not how that works. Everybody pays taxes. The poor pay taxes, the rich pay taxes. Everybody pays taxes except for the politicians and their friends. Anyway, Leslie says Central Indiana was in 2 big box hardware stores. Plumbing parts either short or incredibly expensive. It's expensive to get a plumber to your house to work on things, but it's also expensive for them to buy the parts that they need, or for you to buy the parts that you need. Everything is getting a lot more expensive. And it's not like we're talking like, oh, it went up by 10%. When we talk about these parts, we're looking at twice as much as it used to cost, or 3 times or 4 times as much as it used to cost. We're seeing that all over the place. Says Steve, I worked around food my whole life. I was recently informed that I cannot use my produce that I grow myself to make food for people. The government thinks my homegrown is more harmful than the toxic crap that they put out. My produce will never get anything I wouldn't want my own family to consume. I even argued this and stated that with no resolution. Government wants to rubber stamp everything. It's not about safety. It's about compliance. It's not about protecting the people. It's about controlling the people. When you realize that, suddenly everything in government makes sense. Northern Nancy says, went to Aldi's yesterday in Milwaukee right after church. Our breads were either gone or almost gone, too. No angel hair pasta, rotini, or shell noodles of any size. 3 packages of 5-pound ground beef left. I took 2 of them. The time of day was 12:30 or right after noon in the afternoon. Shore Skeptic. If you guys have any updates that you'd like to share with us, please do post a comment on any video on this channel. Make sure you use the word update. If you see the blue thumbnail, that's my other channel, Poplar Prepper. Don't put them over there. Make sure you put them on one of the purple videos, right? But use the word update somewhere in your comment and give us some sort of geographical location so that helps. Please keep your conversations and information coming in. If you need to email me something to keep your name off things, you can always email me at poplarpreparedness@gmail.com. Shore Skeptic. Manchester Township, New Jersey. I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow. I received a confirmation text that states, you may be asked to wear a mask. I thought we were done with, and then they typed in, expletive deleted. So thank you for deleting it. Yeah, I hear your frustration. I thought we were done with the masks too. I mean, it is what it is. Madam K says, Steve, can you please share, and so we are, that you can buy 5 loaves of frozen bread for the price of 1 shelf bread loaf. And it keeps a lot longer too, right? In the freezer. I make cinnamon rolls, breadsticks, buns, and bread with this dough, and it is healthier without chemicals. Just store it in the fridge. Otherwise, it will spoil in days due to lack of chemicals and preservatives. But if you don't want the chemicals and preservatives, that's a great option. Or you can make it from scratch. Yeah, I know a bunch of people are already typing that. You can make it from scratch. You can, if you want the convenience of a store-bought loaf, but you're willing to pop it in the oven, that's a great way to go. Sadie says, Aldi shopping in East Central Indiana. No oyster crackers, no Worcestershire, okay, I can't pronounce that, Worcestershire sauce. That's my way of pronouncing it, so we'll just go with that. Turkey-flavored stuffing is also gone. Beef and chicken bouillon cubes, neither one of those. Beef stew, spice cake mix, quick bread muffin mixes, hot cocoa mix. Some items may be seasonal, so this is why the shortage, but many gaps and open spaces in the food sections. Very surprising. They were stocking shelves, but most items were household and Aldi deals. Had to go to Meijer to get the other items, some unavailable there as well. And what is with bean and bacon soup? It's next to impossible to find. And yes, you can make that yourself as well, right? This is an important one here. Nebraska Prairie Lady says, here in the panhandle of Nebraska, we went through a terrible storm that knocked down hundreds, over 700 power lines. Our homestead was without power for 1 full week. We were prepared, but an important lesson, and the one thing we wished we'd stocked more of, is water. I urge you to overestimate how much you rely on water each day for each individual, each pet, and farm animal. This was an important eye-opening lesson. Thanks for your updates, Steve. The UN, when I was doing some stuff overseas and getting ready to go work with an organization that helped with refugees and internally displaced people, that's like a refugee that hasn't crossed a national border yet, setting up these camps and everything like that, they said that the recommendation was 5 gallons of water per person in order to have a refugee camp. 5 gallons per person per day to have a refugee camp. Now, can you get by with less than that? You can, but optimally you should have 5 gallons. Now, all 5 gallons don't have to be super clean water. One of those gallons needs to be drinkable and going into food cookable, okay? And then you want some, maybe 2 more that are kind of pretty clean that you can clean dishes with, you can do hygiene with, you can brush your teeth, that kind of stuff, but you don't necessarily need to drink that water. You can wash your face, bathe in it, and then you can have 2 gallons that are less clean, that you can wash your clothes, you can scrub floors, you can do things with. But think about that, 5 gallons per person, 1 gallon of drinking water, and then you're going to need at least another gallon to clean dishes and all that kind of stuff, and boilable that you can boil pasta and stuff like that, right? But think that through. If you don't have at least 1 gallon per person per day for like 20 days, you're really, really short on water. And make sure you have some gray water or some kind of outdoor rain catchment system or something like that that's at least catching some water or the capacity to catch water. All right, friends, thanks so much for joining us. If you have updates, please pop them down in the comments down below or other advice. If you guys want to get some more information from Genesis Gold, there's a link right there on the screen. You can tap that, fill out your information. They'll contact you, or you can open up the description down below to find their contact information. Just mention this channel if you do call them directly. That way they will waive the setup fee because otherwise that's a couple $100. So definitely do that. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there. Thanks so much for watching. Steve Poplar of The Poplar Report out.